Some of these conspiracies are wild, unsettling, and highly speculative. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. The Yowie is a towering humanoid creature reported throughout the Australian wilderness, described by Aboriginal cultures for thousands of years as a powerful being standing up to 12 feet tall with thick dark fur and immense strength. Multiple expeditions into the Australian outback have documented large, unusual footprints measuring up to 16 inches in length, often found in remote areas where no known animals would leave such tracks. Aboriginal rock art dating back centuries depicts massive human-like figures with distinctive features matching modern Yowie descriptions, including pronounced brow ridges and muscular builds. Scientists studying the Australian ecosystem note vast unexplored regions of dense bushland and remote mountain ranges that could potentially harbor an undiscovered large primate species, particularly given Australia's history of unique megafauna. Cryptozoologists have collected hundreds of witness accounts from farmers, rangers, and bushwalkers describing encounters with these creatures, including detailed observations of their behavior, such as tree-breaking displays and distinctive vocalizations. Physical evidence including hair samples, unusual fecal matter, and twisted branches found at reported Yowie sites has shown unique genetic markers that don't match known Australian wildlife. The creature's reported behavior patterns align with known great ape characteristics, including complex social structures, territorial marking, and seasonal migration patterns through Australia's eastern mountain ranges. Aboriginal elders maintain detailed oral histories about interactions with these beings, describing them as intelligent creatures capable of using tools and communicating through complex sounds and gestures. Psychometry describes the ability to obtain detailed information about people and events by touching objects associated with them, with practitioners claiming they can read the energetic imprints left on items through physical contact. Scientific studies conducted in the 1960s at Duke University documented cases where individuals could accurately describe the owners and histories of objects they had never seen before simply by holding them. The theory behind psychometry suggests that all matter retains a subtle energetic field containing information about its past, similar to how magnetic tape stores audio information. Police departments in several countries have worked with psychometrists to solve cold cases, with documented instances of these practitioners providing accurate details about crime scenes and victims by touching evidence items. Historical records show notable psychometrists like Stefan Osowiecki demonstrating their abilities under controlled conditions, successfully identifying owners of sealed letters and describing detailed personal information about strangers by touching their possessions. Research into quantum mechanics and the observer effect provides a potential scientific framework for psychometry, suggesting consciousness can interact with matter in ways that transcend conventional understanding of time and space. Experiments conducted at the Institute of Noetic Sciences have shown statistically significant results when testing individuals' abilities to gather accurate historical information from objects in double-blind conditions. Archaeological projects have employed psychometrists to gather information about artifacts, with some practitioners providing verifiable historical details about objects that were later confirmed through conventional research methods. Hollow Earth dinosaur theory suggests that prehistoric creatures continue to thrive within vast underground caverns and tunnel systems beneath the Earth's surface, protected from the extinction events that affected surface-dwelling species. Numerous indigenous cultures across multiple continents maintain oral histories describing enormous reptilian creatures living in extensive underground domains, with remarkably consistent descriptions of these beings across geographically separated regions. Geological surveys have revealed massive underground cave systems with unique ecosystems, including species thought to be extinct for millions of years, such as the coelacanth, suggesting the potential for other prehistoric survivors. Military expeditions and geological surveys in Antarctica have documented unusual heat signatures and magnetic anomalies consistent with large underground spaces, along with unexplained seismic patterns that could indicate movement of large creatures. Ancient maps, including the controversial Piri race map, show detailed underground tunnel systems and caverns, with some featuring drawings of creatures resembling known dinosaur species. Multiple drilling projects have encountered unexplained voids at depths far beyond where natural caves typically form, with some projects reporting unusual sounds and vibrations from these spaces. Cryptozoological reports from various remote regions describe encounters with creatures matching dinosaur descriptions, often near cave systems or areas with significant underground geological features. Analysis of core samples from deep drilling operations has revealed preserved organic material and unexplained oxygen pockets at depths where such findings should be impossible, suggesting the potential for sustainable underground ecosystems.
Like this video and subscribe to Maker.
The European witch cult theory proposes that medieval witch accusations and trials were attempts to suppress a widespread organized pagan religion that had survived underground since pre-Christian times. Archaeological evidence shows consistent patterns of ritual sites and artifacts across Europe that align with descriptions found in witch trial testimonies, suggesting organized religious practices rather than isolated incidents. Medieval court records contain detailed accounts of seasonal gatherings and ceremonies that correspond with pre-Christian agricultural festivals, indicating an organized system of nature worship that persisted through the Middle Ages. Analysis of witch trial confessions from different regions reveals remarkably similar descriptions of religious ceremonies, healing practices, and spiritual beliefs, despite geographical separation and lack of communication between accused individuals. Historical documents show that accused witches often possessed advanced knowledge of herbal medicine and astronomy, suggesting they were preserving and passing down ancient scientific and spiritual knowledge through secret traditions. Many accused witches belong to families with generations of healers and midwives, indicating organized lineages of knowledge transmission rather than spontaneous occult practices. Studies of European folklore and folk medicine reveal consistent patterns of plant use and ritual practices that align closely with both witch trial testimonies and ancient pagan ceremonies. Linguistic analysis of terms used in witch trial documents shows connections to pre-Christian religious vocabulary, suggesting the preservation of ancient spiritual concepts within these secret societies. Medieval church records document systematic attempts to suppress specific seasonal gatherings and folk practices that aligned with known pagan festivals, indicating an organized alternative religious system rather than scattered superstitions. New Coke's 1985 release and subsequent failure represents a calculated marketing strategy to transition Coca-Cola from expensive sugar to cheaper high-fructose corn syrup while maintaining consumer loyalty. Internal documents reveal Coca-Cola had already secured large contracts with corn syrup manufacturers months before the New Coke announcement, suggesting a predetermined plan to change the original formula. The timing of New Coke's release coincided with a significant rise in sugar prices and the availability of cheaper corn syrup alternatives, creating economic pressure for formula modification. Chemical analysis shows the original Coca-Cola formula returned to shelves after the New Coke incident contained high fructose corn syrup instead of cane sugar, yet consumers reported no taste difference due to their relief at having the classic version back. Marketing data from the period shows Coca-Cola's brand loyalty actually increased after the New Coke incident, despite the switch to cheaper ingredients, indicating a successful manipulation of consumer psychology. Financial records demonstrate the company saved millions annually by switching to corn syrup, while the temporary introduction of New Coke created a perceived victory for consumers who fought to bring back the classic formula. Former Coca-Cola executives have hinted at the strategic nature of the New Coke launch, with several noting the remarkable convenience of how the failed product allowed for a quiet ingredient transition in the original formula. Media coverage from the period shows carefully orchestrated press releases and public statements that maintained focus on the taste difference rather than the underlying ingredient changes taking place. Gladiator blood served as a highly sought-after medicine in ancient Rome, with physicians collecting it directly from fallen warriors to treat epilepsy and other neurological conditions. Medical documents from Roman times detail specific collection methods and preparation techniques for gladiator blood, including the practice of drinking it while still warm to maximize its perceived therapeutic properties. The belief in gladiator blood's healing power stemmed from observations that epileptic patients showed improvement after consuming it, possibly due to the high iron content and other minerals present in fresh blood. Roman apothecaries maintained special sections of their shops dedicated to preserved gladiator blood products, with wealthy citizens paying premium prices for blood from the most renowned fighters. Archaeological evidence has uncovered specialized vessels and containers near gladiatorial arenas, designed specifically for the collection and storage of blood for medicinal purposes. Historical records indicate that some gladiator schools specifically trained fighters to aim for wounds that would produce the most collectible blood, suggesting an organized system of medical harvesting. Ancient medical texts describe how different types of gladiator blood were prescribed for various conditions, with blood from stronger or more skilled fighters commanding higher prices and believed to possess greater healing properties. The practice spread beyond Rome, with evidence of gladiator blood trade routes extending throughout the empire, indicating widespread acceptance of its medicinal properties. The Goloks are a mysterious tribe of Tibetan warriors who possess supernatural abilities gained through ancient Buddhist practices, including the power to generate internal heat and survive extreme cold without protection. Scientific studies conducted on Golok practitioners have documented their ability to raise their body temperature significantly through meditation techniques, with thermal imaging showing concentrated heat generation in specific body parts. Historical accounts from British expeditions into Tibet describe encountering Golok warriors running barefoot through snow at high altitudes while maintaining normal body functions, defying conventional understanding of human thermal regulation. The Golok tradition maintains detailed records of specialized breathing techniques and mental practices passed down through generations, with specific instructions for developing extraordinary physical capabilities. Medical examinations of Golok practitioners have revealed unusual physiological adaptations, including increased blood flow to extremities and enhanced metabolic efficiency in cold conditions. Chinese military documents from the early 20th century report encounters with Golok warriors who could function normally in sub-zero temperatures wearing minimal clothing, leading to specific tactical adjustments when operating in their territory. Anthropological studies have documented the Golok's unique dietary practices and specialized training methods, which begin in early childhood and progressively develop their extraordinary capabilities. Modern researchers studying the Golok's techniques have identified specific meditation practices that activate brown fat tissue and alter autonomous nervous system responses, providing a potential scientific basis for their abilities. The lost tribes of Israel refer to 10 ancient Hebrew tribes who disappeared from historical record around 722 BCE and are believed to have maintained their distinct cultural identity while migrating to various parts of the world. Archaeological evidence in Afghanistan and Pakistan has revealed ancient communities with traditions and artifacts bearing striking similarities to ancient Hebrew customs, including specific ritual objects and burial practices. DNA studies among certain isolated populations in India, particularly the Bnai Manash community, show genetic markers consistent with Middle Eastern ancestry dating back to the period of the tribe's disappearance. Japanese historical records describe the arrival of Middle Eastern settlers during the exact time frame of the tribe's dispersion, with several Japanese customs showing remarkable parallels to ancient Hebrew traditions. Linguistic analysis has identified Hebrew root words and grammatical structures in the languages of several isolated communities across Asia and Africa, suggesting a historical connection to ancient Israel. Native American tribes, particularly those in Central America, share specific religious symbols and practices with ancient Hebrew traditions, including similar creation stories and purification rituals. British Israelism researchers have documented medieval European royal genealogies claiming direct descent from the lost tribes, supported by ancient heraldic symbols matching those of the original 12 tribes. Ethiopian historical records contain detailed accounts of Hebrew tribes settling in Africa during the period of dispersion, with some communities maintaining distinct cultural practices traceable to ancient Israel. The theory of Polynesian Antarctic contact suggests that ancient Pacific navigators reached the Antarctic continent long before its official discovery, with evidence found in both oral histories and archaeological records. Traditional Polynesian navigation stories describe journeys to a white land of extreme cold where the sun never set during summer months, with specific details about ice formations and unusual atmospheric phenomena matching Antarctic conditions. Ancient Polynesian maps carved into wood and woven into traditional patterns show routes extending far south of New Zealand, with symbols indicating encounters with floating ice and extreme cold regions. Studies of Polynesian boat-building techniques reveal vessels capable of withstanding Southern Ocean conditions, with specific design features suggesting adaptation for handling ice-filled waters. Linguistic analysis shows several Polynesian words for specific types of ice and cold weather phenomena that would be impossible to observe anywhere except in polar regions. Archaeological evidence from coastal Antarctic regions includes stone tools and carved artifacts bearing similarities to Polynesian design patterns and construction methods. Ancient Polynesian astronomical knowledge includes detailed understanding of southern polar star patterns and seasonal variations that would only be observable from Antarctic latitudes. Recent genetic studies of preserved animal remains in Antarctica show evidence of Polynesian hunting techniques, including specific cut patterns and preparation methods unique to Pacific Island cultures. The term gremlins originated from Royal Air Force folklore during World War II, where mechanics and pilots reported mysterious beings sabotaging their aircraft through inexplicable mechanical failures. These creatures were described as small, intelligent, and mischievous entities that could access the intricate parts of aircraft, with numerous pilots documenting strange noises and unexplained malfunctions that occurred primarily during night missions. Technical records from the period show an unusually high number of mechanical failures that engineers could not explain through conventional means, particularly in the early models of the Hawker Hurricane and Supermarine Spitfire aircraft. Before missions, ground crews would often perform specific rituals and leave small offerings of food and trinkets in the aircraft, noting fewer mechanical issues when these practices were observed. Multiple sightings describe the creatures as having long, nimble fingers capable of manipulating small mechanical components, with some accounts mentioning their ability to disappear instantly when directly observed. The British Air Ministry took these reports seriously enough to commission an official investigation in 1943, though the resulting documents remain classified to this day. Similar phenomena have been reported in modern aviation, with unexplained mechanical failures and electrical system malfunctions occurring despite thorough pre-flight inspections and maintenance checks. The Julia sound refers to a mysterious underwater noise recorded by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in 1999, characterized by a powerful, rising tone that lasted for several minutes and could be heard across the entire Pacific Ocean. The sound's frequency began at 15 Hz and rose to 25 Hz, creating a pattern unlike any known natural or artificial phenomenon, with acoustical specialists noting its unique similarity to an organic breathing pattern. Analysis revealed the sound's source was mobile, moving at speeds of up to 30 knots, which exceeds the capabilities of most known submarine technologies. The volume and range of the sound suggested a source far larger than any known marine animal, including the blue whale, yet it possessed characteristics that pointed to a biological rather than mechanical origin. Deep-sea monitoring stations detected the sound simultaneously across thousands of miles, indicating a source of unprecedented power operating at extreme depths where human submarines cannot function. Hydrophone recordings showed the sound originated from a point near the Antarctic Peninsula, in an area known for anomalous magnetic readings and unexplained sonar contacts dating back to the 1960s. Several subsequent expeditions to the region have documented unusual temperature variations and electromagnetic disturbances that correlate with the timing pattern of the original Julia recording. The Hodag was first documented in Wisconsin's logging communities during the 1890s, described as a horned creature with the head of a frog, the face of an elephant, spikes along its spine, and a spiked tail. Logger Eugene Shepard presented physical evidence of the creature in 1893, including photographs and a claimed specimen, drawing crowds of thousands to Rhinelander, Wisconsin to witness the beast. Multiple lumberjacks reported encounters with the creature, describing its distinctive sulfuric smell and its habit of disrupting logging operations by destroying equipment and stalking work camps at night. Native American oral histories from the region contain accounts of a similar creature, describing it as a guardian spirit of the forest that appeared during times of excessive logging or environmental destruction. Unusual tracks found in the area's dense forests match descriptions of the creature's reported clawed feet, with some casts from the 1890s still preserved in local historical societies. The creature's reported diet of white bulldogs exclusively aligns with numerous unexplained disappearances of such dogs in the Rhinelander area during the peak of logging operations. Modern wildlife cameras in Wisconsin's northern forests have captured unexplained thermal signatures and movement patterns that don't match any known local wildlife, particularly during winter months. The Ringdocus refers to a mysterious hybrid animal specimen discovered in 1951 by cattle ranchers in Montana, possessing characteristics of multiple species including a wolf's jaw structure, a kangaroo's hind legs, and the hooves of an antelope. Veterinary experts who examined the carcass noted its unique vertebrae configuration, which didn't match any known North American mammal, along with an unusual elastic quality to its skin that allowed for extreme flexibility. The creature's skull structure showed evidence of both carnivorous and herbivorous adaptations, with dental patterns that suggested it could process both meat and tough plant material efficiently. Blood samples taken from the specimen revealed cellular structures that didn't align with any known species, containing properties that allowed for enhanced oxygen absorption, similar to high-altitude dwelling animals. Local indigenous tribes had oral histories describing similar creatures, referring to them as boundary walkers that appeared during times of ecological change or environmental stress. Analysis of hair samples from the specimen showed genetic markers from multiple different animal families, suggesting either an unprecedented case of natural hybridization or the survival of an unknown ancestral species. Geographic surveys of the region where the Ringdocus was found revealed unusual patterns of animal migration and behavior, with regular reports of livestock responding fearfully to unseen predators that left no traditional tracking signs. The Indus River Valley civilization operated a vast network of sophisticated cities with advanced plumbing systems, organized grid patterns, and standardized architecture over 4,000 years ago, demonstrating engineering capabilities that would not be seen again until the Roman Empire. Archaeological evidence suggests they possessed knowledge of astronomy and mathematics that enabled precise city planning, with streets aligned to celestial events and buildings constructed using advanced geometric principles. Their writing system, consisting of over 400 distinct symbols, remains undeciphered but shows signs of being more sophisticated than contemporary Mesopotamian scripts, with patterns suggesting both mathematical and astronomical applications. Excavations have revealed evidence of ocean-going vessels and complex trade networks extending to ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, indicating they possessed advanced naval technology and navigation abilities. The civilization's decline coincides with geological evidence of a massive underground chamber system beneath their major cities, leading some researchers to theorize about the existence of undiscovered technological or architectural achievements. Artifacts recovered from Indus Valley sites show unusual levels of radiation and magnetic properties, particularly in objects made from materials not naturally found in the region. Satellite imagery has identified geometric patterns in the layout of Indus Valley cities that appear to correlate with specific astronomical alignments and mathematical constants, including the value of pi. Recent underwater archaeological surveys off the coast of Gujarat have revealed submerged structures with architectural features matching those of known Indus Valley cities, suggesting their civilization extended far beyond currently known boundaries. The Loys Ape refers to a large primate photographed in 1920 by Swiss geologist François Deloy in Venezuela, appearing to be a tailless ape standing over 5 feet tall with human-like facial features and pronounced white fur around its neck. The creature was encountered during a petroleum expedition near the Colombian-Venezuelan border, where the team reported it displayed aggressive behavior and walked upright, with Deloys claiming his team killed it in self-defense. Anatomical analysis of the photograph by primatologists noted distinct features that differentiated it from known spider monkeys, including its size, lack of tail, and facial structure more reminiscent of Old World primates. Local indigenous peoples of the region maintained oral histories of similar creatures, describing them as forest-dwelling bipedal beings that used tools and avoided human contact. The expedition's original field notes documented finding unusual nests and tool-like arrangements of stones in the area where the encounter occurred. Subsequent expeditions to the region have collected hair samples and footprint casts that show primate characteristics but don't match any known species in South America. The creature's reported height of 1.57 meters exactly matches a theoretical size gap in primate evolution between modern apes and early hominids, suggesting a potential surviving transitional species. Pink goo refers to mechanically separated chicken used in McDonald's food processing during the 1990s and early 2000s, created through a process where chicken carcasses were stripped of usable meat and processed into a pale pink soft-serve ice cream-like substance. The process involved forcing chicken bones and attached meat through a high-pressure sieve, removing bone particles while creating a protein-rich paste that was treated with ammonium hydroxide to eliminate bacteria. Photographs from food processing facilities show large vats of the substance being stored at specific temperatures, maintaining a distinct pink coloration that matches the documented characteristics of mechanically separated poultry. Chemical analysis of McDonald's products from this era revealed high levels of processed protein content consistent with the composition of mechanically separated meat. Internal food industry documents confirm the widespread use of this processing method as a cost-effective way to maximize the protein yield from poultry processing. Food scientists have verified that this substance could be legally classified as chicken under FDA guidelines, despite bearing little resemblance to traditional chicken meat. The production method was particularly efficient, recovering an additional 30 to 40% of protein from each chicken that would otherwise have been discarded, making it economically advantageous for large-scale food operations. Modern food processing facilities still utilize similar mechanical separation techniques, though the resulting product is now typically mixed with other ingredients rather than used in its pure form. The Cottingley Fairies photographs, taken by 2 young girls in England between 1917 and 1920, underwent extensive analysis by photographic experts of the time who could not conclusively prove they were faked despite having access to the original glass plate negatives. The girls, Elsie Wright and Frances Griffiths, maintained the authenticity of some of the photographs until their deaths, specifically stating that while some were staged, at least one of the 5 famous images captured genuine fairy beings. Modern digital analysis of the original plates revealed unusual light patterns and anomalies that don't match known photographic manipulation techniques of the early 20th century. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, a trained medical doctor and skilled amateur photographer, conducted his own investigation and found the depth of field and lighting in certain images technically impossible to fake with 1917 technology. The location where the photos were taken, Cottingley Beck, has a long history in local folklore as a fairy site, with multiple independent sightings reported both before and after the famous photographs. Subsequent chemical analysis of the original photographic plates showed no signs of double exposure or traditional darkroom manipulation techniques common to the era. The girls' detailed descriptions of the fairy beings remained consistent over decades of separate interviews, including specific anatomical features that weren't visible in the photographs themselves. Electromagnetic field measurements taken at the original photo site in the 1960s showed unusual patterns of fluctuation that corresponded with the reported times and locations of the fairy sightings.